so early. You guys want to get some coffee or something?
Can I get a cup of coffee? Black? Can't you see we talking? White?
Even little kids in Mexico drink coffee.
Well, I'm not a little kid in Mexico, okay?
That is the best coffee I've ever tasted.
A damn fine cup of coffee.
You want a cup of coffee?
No coffee.
Coffee drinker, huh?
Maybe we could grab some coffee?
Coffee, 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 coffee.
How you doing, fellas?
Okay.
That's not decaf, is it?
Viennese cinnamon.
Good morning. The invisible Don Ecker is with us, as you can see. He's right there. I think he stepped away to get some more coffee. Martin is here. And I want to put it out to the audience. Do any of you know what pinche chingala means? I'm just curious. I don't know.
I could explain it to you.
I know what it means. I grew up with Hispanics in my family, so I learned that shit young. I'm telling you that I add this Italian chocolate syrup to the coffee, and it gives it an even stronger, bitter, chocolatey taste that I like. But anyway, I want to say good morning to our audience, and of course, Don is here back. He's back now with his coffee. D. Bud Martin, who's been here for about, I think, 40 minutes. He's been waiting. Aaron Ratliff, good morning, sir. Monkey Jeebus, my friend, good to see you. Oh, you brought the whole pot over. Yes, you did. John, do you want to join us this morning? You're more than welcome to. I'll send you an invite over on Facebook. Let me jump over there real quick. Good Googa So it is UFO Wednesday. I got my new logo up there in the corner. Don Ecker is here. Now, even though this is UFO Wednesday, we're going to be mixing our discussion because I don't think it's a cryptid. I don't consider Bigfoot or the Sasquatch or whatever you want to call it across the U.S. Momo, skunk ape. They're all the same to me. I don't consider them cryptids. I consider them an evolutionary divergence. And I just sent it to you, Don. Sorry. Talking at the same time of doing stuff. Where is John? There's John. All right, John, I'm sending it to you now. Boom. There's your invitation, brother. So basically, you know, my feeling is that this is something else. It's not, cryptid to me, cryptozoology is like this weird thing. And I know Don's got feelings on it too. It's different than mine. I just, I do admit this, that we didn't believe the panda existed 80 years ago or 85 years ago. 85 years ago. Scientists said that it was a legend, folklore over in China and other parts of Asia, that this thing wasn't real, this black and white bear, whatever. And then they caught one about 80 years ago and proved all these scientists wrong. So Bigfoot is something that I paid attention to since I was a kid. I remember going to see documentaries in the theater on it. There was one that came out in the 70s. Do you remember that one, Don?
What, Legend of Boggy Creek?
No, not Boggy Creek, even though I love that one too. No, there was a Bigfoot documentary that came out in the 70s that hit the theaters, and it showed that famous story of those miners that were in their cabin being attacked.
Oh yeah, back in the 20s.
Yeah, and there's some crazy shit, and there's stories that go back. The American Indians have told stories of the Yeti, the Sasquatch. In fact, Sasquatch came from one of the tribes. I can't remember which one it was. Do you recall, Don? I forget which tribe.
The native tribe? No, not offhand.
Yeah.
But it was up. If I'm not mistaken, it was in the Northwest.
Yeah, it's the Northwest. It's either Inuit, Muckleshooter, or one of those tribes up there. It's just this is something that's commonly spoke about. Even here in Missouri and Oklahoma, you'll hear stories from the Oklahoma tribes and Missouri tribes talking about this man-like creature that roams woods. And in Missouri, we call it Momo. This part of Missouri, it's Momo. It's still Bigfoot. The description's the same. And then, of course, there's something else, because anybody who has watched the documentaries or read about the missing 411 tapes, which, Pilatus, I'll probably never invite him on the show. I've heard from way too many sources what a dickhead he is to have as a guest.
In full disclosure, several years back, I interviewed him on my radio show, Dark Matters Radio.
Dark Matters.
Very, very good interview. Okay. I had read several of his books, have them, as a matter of fact, and got to say, I was pretty impressed. Now, I was reading into a lot of what he had to say, okay, which included implications that's exactly what he was talking about, but he wouldn't come right out and say it, okay?
No, in fact, that was the gentleman you told me to talk to. He said that he refuses to admit to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I kind of lost touch with him for a while. And on Facebook one day, I get a Facebook friendship request from Pilatus. So immediately I said, sure, fine. Well, not 30 seconds go by, and he puts a whole promotional goddamn thing on my private Facebook
personal
page.
Facebook page, right.
Right. And I went in there, and I got to say, I was pissed. That ticked me off. And I immediately deleted it. And then I went back and I said, hey, David, you put that on my personal page. You want to put it on my Dark Matters Radio fan page? Hey, no problem. I'll be happy to do that. But not on my personal page. And he got pissed. Now, I got a lot of people, that are Facebook friends with me. After, the show really got going, a lot of people on Facebook. I'm up around 4,000 quote unquote Facebook friends. And it just wasn't appropriate. So he got all pissy with me. Okay. And I'm just telling you what happened, right? He got all pissy with me. So my attitude was screw it. And I just blocked the guy. So there it is. If you can't play nice, if you can't be polite, Pilatus, it's called polite. Okay. It's called, hey, Don, do you mind? But that wasn't in his venue. So.
Yeah, well, like Pat just said, he's really good at selling books. And look, my answer to you, Pat, on the bones, first of all, if they are intelligent, they bury their dead. Unless you go fucking digging for them and know where their graveyards are, what are you going to do?
Neanderthal buried their dead.
Yeah, it's like I've always known that the more intelligent, and like I said, this is a divergence. This isn't, I don't believe this is some sort of cryptid, strange creature. I do not attribute any mysticism or dimensional shit with real Sasquatch or Yetis or whatever the fuck these things are. I believe that they're just simply an evolutionary track that went in a different direction from us.
But I think there are two types, at least two types. Okay.
Well, you're going to get into the one that Pilatus doesn't want to talk about, which is the alien one, right? Or dimensional one, right?
Well, there's the real type.
The five-toed and the three-toed.
Right, exactly. Yes. And the three-toed one is the one that I find most intimidating because they are often found where there have been massive UFO sightings and encounters.
And this is also associated with a lot of these missing cases.
Yes. Yes. And why he didn't want to acknowledge that, I don't know, because his books reek of that. Okay. One particular encounter I can remember, several guys were on a hunting trip. I think it was in, it might have been Utah or no. I think it was California, way up north in California. And these two hunters just flat disappeared. And basically, after several days, and they should have been back, they weren't. A massive search and rescue effort was launched. And these guys were just combing the mountainside where these guys had been or were supposed to be. And finally, they found their rifles. They found their backpacks. They found jackets or coats, but no sign of the bodies whatsoever. Now, if you're up in the bush and you have a weapon.
Boy, I've been there a few times.
The last goddamn thing you're ever going to do is get rid of your weapon, okay? You're going to hang on to that until the end of time, and not these guys. So something happened, and something happened where apparently they didn't have time to employ their weapons, and that's scary.
Yeah, it's like to deploy. It doesn't take very long. That something happened that quickly is pretty, that's hairy shit right there. And I don't mean to make a joke or a pun because we're talking about Bigfoot and saying hairy. And speaking of that, by the way, Keith wants to hang out with you again, so he'll be joining us at the bottom of the hour, he said.
Cool. Now, I got a question for you.
Yeah, man.
My main bro out here in sunny Southern California, my buddy Mark Center, okay, caught the last couple shows that you do. He's very, very deep into not only film, but also pop culture. And, for example, when the Gina Carano thing happened with Disney, okay, we were burning up the damn telephone lines. And I know or knew Neurotic and Doomcock, okay?
Yeah, you've been on their show.
Yeah, well, there's more to that story. But anyway, there's more to that story. But anyway, Mark watched it, and he said, yeah, man. He said, that was really good. He said, tell me, how long's Gerry been doing that? I said, no, Mark, no, not Gerry, Gerry. And he said, well, he's got it spelled like Gerry. And I said, no, it's Gerry. Well, tell him to change the goddamn spelling then.
Oh my God, that's so common. My dad, just a little anecdotal thing here. My dad, I'm a junior, okay? Not an official junior because we have different middle names, but we have the same first and last name. And I was little Gerry, he was big Gerry until I grew up, and then I'm giant Gerry, and he's still dad. And he goes, as I'm having my boys, he's like, I really want you to name one of them Gerry. And I'm like, no. He's like, why? And I said, are you fucking kidding me? The torment you put me through, people calling me Gerry all the time? Fuck you. No, I'm not passing that fucking name down. But then to add insult to injury, when my middle son was born, his name is Sean Patrick Gerry Cassell. That's his legal name. Sean Patrick Gerry, spelled Gerry, just to irritate my dad. And I did, for a long time, I just answered to it. I really just fucking. But, when I'm doing the show, it's like, I may as well. But I'm getting ready to go back to Gerry because Tom and I are going to be doing a show together from Midnight's Edge. What I consider to be one of the best, if not the best, show on YouTube that does what we do. He and Andre just are amazing, and they're friends of mine, and they're very popular. We're not. We're getting there. By the way, we just got our 4,000th or 4,020th or 30th sub. So we passed the 4,000 threshold, and we're just growing. They're like, what are they, John? They're like huge. They're like 15 to 20,000, maybe even more.
Something like that. Yeah, I can look it up real quick.
Guys like Doomcock, Doomcock, I love Doomcock. I know you're running with him and Gerry, the other Gerry, as I say.
No, not Doomcock. No, not
Gerry
Doomcock.
Beekler. Yeah, it was Gerry Beekler.
Nerdrotic.
Yeah, Gerry.
And that was because of his wife.
Oh. And I'm just, we can get into that another time. I'd actually like to talk about that because I like Gerry a lot. He has really built what we all do, talking about film industry, the fucking stupidity in Hollywood. I saw him politically change because of this, because he was very liberal in the beginning, and now he's like very much coming across as a staunch conservative with some of the shit he says.
Let me tell you something, dude. I've been watching with close tolerance things that are happening all over the damn country. Now, I don't want to get off on a political rant, but what the Biden administration did with Trump at Mar-a-Lago,
it's weaponizing law enforcement. Yeah, I agree. It's changed the game. Shit's gonna happen now. We got FBI coming forward right now, actual active duty FBI personnel coming forward and outing shit that's going on over there. You can't do this. You can't get away with weaponizing the DOJ, the IRS, and the FBI, man, or even the CIA. Even though CIA technically is not allowed to work within the U.S., don't you fucking kid yourself. They work inside the U.S. all the fucking time.
Why do you think they still keep an eye on me?
Oh, I know they keep it. And, someone says, well, wouldn't that be the NSA? I said, the NSA are the nerds. They aren't operatives. I'm sure they hire external personnel, but the NSA itself is just a bunch of fucking spy nerds. The CIA is the one with the operatives and agents doing shit. And they are working, and I believe quite illegally here in the United States. And they just
Mexican Iron Man, you are welcome, my friend.
Oh, Mexican Iron Man is our producer, along with Pat S., who is the one. Where are the Bones? That's our other producer. He works with Mexican Iron Man in real life, with business. Mr. Ecker is a fascinating and informative. I've been a fan of Mr. Ecker's work for decades, and Mr. Ecker is a real-life, living, breathing National Archive. Hell fucking yeah. Thank you, Mr. Ecker, for all your work over the years. And I want you to remember something, Mexican. I was blessed to meet this guy back in the 2000s, and I'm fascinated by this guy. And I'm so glad I finally got a chance to read chapter 2, and I liked it so much, I'm going to go back, read chapter 1, and I'm already into chapter 3 of your book, Past Sins. Holy shit, that's really good stuff, man. Right there. And that's still available on Amazon, right?
Yeah, but I also have it in PDF, which, it's gone out of print. Okay. Now I could put it back in print, but that would cost me a bundle. And it was a small publisher when it was published. I mean, it was not a self-published thing. It was a small publisher. You could just
self-publish through Amazon's Create Space and just do it that way and get your percentage from the sales. But I'm just telling you, man, that book needs to get back out there again, and I want to do the new cover for it. I really fucking like this book. I mean, I'm just 2 chapters into it, and I'm like, holy crap, what you did in that chapter 2 is fucking phenomenal. It needs to be a graphic novel. I'll work with you on that. Even if I don't draw it, I can get the artist and we can do a campaign. and I will just be, the guy that oversees all the work done on it, and then ends up
tell them what it's about.
It's about vampires and war and law enforcement, and it's real life shit. I mean, that's where I'm at right now. And there's this seed vampire from, where is it? Greece?
Hungary.
Where is he? Hungary. And this vampire the way I'm perceiving this, it's weaponized. Right? Am I getting that right? With what happens?
Well, that was the intent.
NVA and the American troops. It's a weapon. And then it somehow ends up in the U.S. and I'm still like, oh shit, I got to find out all this. I got to read the rest of the book, find out what's going on here. Because the thing I love about this is your military and your law enforcement allows you to create characters in both worlds very realistically and believably. And so you come with that great knowledge in both areas. So, but Mexican Iron Man, thank you for your $20 super chat, sir. It is because of you this channel exists now. He and Mr. Tickle Trunk, and a lot of people do contribute, but Mr. Tickle Trunk and Mexican Iron Man probably give the most money to our channel to keep us going, and pay for our service and all that shit. So I'm going to play a video for him today. And I tried to get a new video up, but StreamYard has given me a fucking time about uploading videos. They keep timing out at the last second. So I'm going to do one of my favorite alien things. It talks about alien things. It's Alien Wednesday or UFO
You believe
Wednesday.
any of this voodoo bullshit, Blair? Charles, chariots of the gods, man. They practically own South America. I mean, they taught the Incas everything they know.
There you go. And of course, my favorite coffee one.
Hey, here's your free cup of coffee from a lady in Rhode Island. What?
Great. Even though Seth never served, I'm going to bet that joke came from somebody that served in the military, because that's fucking dark and funny. Oh man, coffee is so good today. So Bigfoot. Oh, hold on, got a message from Animus, and got held up. Sorry. All right, my day is made. I've heard from her. Yay.
Yeah, I put the totals for Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark in the private chat.
Oh, let me go check it out. So, oh my God, really?
Yep.
They have grown in leaps and bounds. 213,000. I mean, they were like at 5,000 to 6,000 when we met and became friends. Look at them now. I hope we grow like that eventually.
It's all intent, buddy. It's all intent.
It's intent.
You believe it, it'll happen.
Yeah. And it's also, I believe in growing things in a grassroots way. I tried doing the ads thing through Google, and it's like, I'm not getting the crowd I want. I'm not getting the audience I want. I want people who are into this, that understand where I'm coming from with the shit that I say. And the only way to do that is word of mouth. And that's how we've grown. And in the period of just a handful of months, we went from 3,000 to 4,000. Used to be about 1,000 a year. We've actually grown in about 5 months, an extra 1,000. And what Tom and Andre at Midnight's Edge have said is that it'll get faster and grow more and more as more people talk about what we do and what we're talking about. And I decided one day I'm just going to be a dick. I'm not going to try to pretend to be the friendly guy. I'm just going to be who I am. John will tell you, John knows me in real life too. This is not an act. This is how I am all the fucking time. I say stupid shit that when you stop and go, oh shit, I just realized what you just said. As stupid as that sounds, it's like, that's fucking funny. But most people don't get my jokes, and I'm not hurt by that. It's okay. My jokes are for me.
Keith is the friendly one.
Keith is a sweetheart. He's the
It's
big
your
black.
jokes.
He's our
I just don't like
big black teddy bear. Shut up, Martin.
I love you, Martin. Don't worry.
I love you too, Don.
But this is, I wanted to do something, and of course, when we do launch this, I'm absolutely going to have you over there, Dangerous Nerds, which is going to be nothing but military vets, talking about science, nerd shit, movies, whatever. And I'm also going to get John Del Vecchio, him from 13th Valley. He's going to be joining us. A couple of other veteran buddies of mine will probably join in. I've got a buddy from New Jersey, Doug, and it's like he'll call me and go, Gerry, and I'll go, hey, how you doing? He's an Italian from New Jersey. I asked him, were you in the mob? But I love military vets, and I like being around them. I probably feel more at home around fellow vets than I do around anybody, especially combat vets, because I feel like these guys have seen shit that I haven't seen, and I can feel comfortable. I can feel relaxed because they're the ones who went through the scary shit.
Well, let me tell you something, Cupcake. You didn't miss much.
I didn't miss much. Yeah. I did get into a small firefight, but it doesn't count because it was friendly fire. And you know that story. It's stupid. But again, I want to thank you, Mexican Iron Man. Man, you're just so awesome. He is actually going to help take over the legal side of our company, because we are an LLC now. It's Pop Culture Minefield LLC. And that's all because of Mexican Iron Man. He set that up. He's just he's the best guardian angel anybody could have. And he watches over, so he's a producer on Midnight's Edge. I mean, that we share the same, guy that works with Midnight's Edge just lets me know that we made it in some way. Even though we're small, we made it because people do accept our knowledge and our opinions, that our opinions aren't just, I'm a nerd and I'm just, this is what I think. That we work in the film industry, that I work in the comic industry too. And I have a working knowledge of how shit happens. I knew about things long before it went public because of it. I was aware of the shit that was happening, the firings at Marvel. I was aware of it 3 months before it happened, that it was going to happen. And that's when we saw the second in command at Marvel, if you remember this, John, jump ship and went to DC. Remember that?
Yeah.
Because that lunch took place with certain people. And I can't say who our inside guy was, but it was a big name in the comic industry, friend of ours. And he let us know what happened. And we're like, yes! But then they didn't fix it. They hired that other fucking idiot. I'm like, you can't fire an idiot and then replace him with another idiot. It's just like, that's switching out bad fuses.
Sure.
Well,
yeah.
That's how presidencies work, man.
I wanna go to Hollywood.
We would, yeah. But let's get back into this with, because Bigfoot is, my brothers used to terrify me with Bigfoot stories when I was like 5, 6 years old. We lived in Camelback in Phoenix, and we lived in the Camelback apartments. Still there. I've driven by my apartment so many times, and I'm like, oh my God, I grew up there. And we lived on the fucking second floor. And I'm like, well, can he reach us? Because he would tell me nightmare stories of Bigfoot. And he goes, oh, yeah, he would reach right in that window and get you. I'm like, oh. He'd get you, take you into the woods. They'd like you, Gerry, because you're so nice and quiet. And I'm like, fuck you guys. Even though I didn't cuss in. My brothers were evil. My brother Mike in particular, he's the one who told me that when we lived in Florida for a short time in Jacksonville, which is a swamp. It's like South Carolina more than it is Florida. And we had alligators across the street, big fucking, inner tube size fucking moccasins sunning out in the grass. And my pet duck got eaten by a juvenile alligator right in front of me. I hated it there. We lived on a canal, so we had sharks and jellyfish in the backyard. And it was just a fucking living hell for me. And then somebody said that there's also the skunk ape. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I cried. My dad finally moved. But my brother Michael scared me the worst by telling me that those giant mayflies, gilly nabbers as they're also called, they look like giant mosquitoes. But they're not. They're innocent little bugs, I found out later. But he told me they were giant mosquitoes and that 2 of those could drain me in a nighttime. So I slept in fucking hot, humid Florida with a wool blanket over my head. and feet tucked in, wrapped in it like a burrito every fucking night.
Stick a sock in it for just a second. Hey, Mark. Okay, buddy. I just got a instant message from my buddy Mark. He said, push your goddamn camera down a little bit. So
mine?
Pal. There it is.
Oh, mine? All right, I'll lift it up a little bit.
Mine.
Oh, yours. Okay. Hey, we got some chat here. Let's see. I can tell when a company is going to go out of business by the loss of customers. I also knew things were going south with the company I was with down in Georgia, I mentioned earlier. They started doing layoffs, and I said, this is a cycle you don't want to get into, because the first round of layoffs is the first round of layoffs, because you double the workload on the people now that are left behind, and they're not going to be able to do their jobs properly, nor the other person. So it's just a vicious cycle. And so I got out of that company as quick as I could, and it did. It imploded. It's terrible. But yeah, I've been through those, Monkey. I'm in the Batman Venom phase. Right now, I'll be all right, though. I've been there before. Oh, you're talking to Marshall. Gerry is just describing paradise to me. Shut up, Martin.
Yeah, I like animals. What can I do?
I got to find it, but there was an article years ago about the Yeti as a genetic offshoot of a bear. If not a hoax, maybe that's Bigfoot. I'll send it to you. That would be really weird that a bear, which is more closely related to a dog than it is an ape, a primate. So I just don't see that happening genetically.
Man, you still have the parallel evolution of the bat fox that is more related to monkeys than to regular bats.
Yeah, and as I recall, we have a lot of things called bears and stuff out there that are actually marsupials. There was a tiger that was a marsupial.
Yeah, the marsupial tiger in Australia. Marsupial wolf. The marsupial wolf.
It's that weird thing they said it went extinct, but people have been seeing it. And I think it's in New Zealand.
Tasmanian tiger.
Is it Tasmania? That's it, Tasmania, yeah. But the bear sloth, yes. Yeah. So I do believe it's an evolutionary offshoot of something else that never evolved further. But I do believe that the reason we don't find bones is because they bury their dead.
Good morning, Anima.
There she is. Hello. Good morning.
Morning.
Yay. Yay me. Yay. I win. I win the internet. But let's get into the weird stuff, though. Because the three-toed Bigfoot is an aberration that I don't think is actually related to Bigfoot at all. I think it's a copy of Bigfoot and wants to be mistaken for Bigfoot.
Well, let me just say this, Gerry. Over the years, my thinking on the whole subject has evolved. Okay. Back in the 80s, when I first began working on UFO magazine as the director of research, I was convinced that most of this was nuts and bolts. In other words, actual mechanical produced craft coming probably from another star system here to planet Earth for whatever reason, God only knows. And if any of that is true, then you know that the technology that those individuals, those beings are utilizing is so far above and beyond anything that we probably even today can duplicate or have.
Right.
Now, as time went on, okay, now over the years, and it was over 20 years that my bride and I did the magazine, okay, you can imagine how many people I've dealt with, okay, talked to, been out in the field, investigating cases, etc., ad nauseum. Well, I guess it was about 99, maybe 2000, before the Twin Tower thing happened. I've been friends with George Knapp for years. Okay, going all the way back to the late 80s with the Bob Lazar story. And he had been pals with Robert Bigelow. And Bigelow at that time owned the Skinwalker Ranch, owned, created the NIDS scientific organization that they had out there investigating all the phenomena that's been going on. Now, on several of those occasions, and this is per Knapp, and later the book that he and Colin Kellner wrote on the Skinwalker case, witnesses saw what appeared to be portals opening.
Mm-hmm.
Not only opening, but something coming through the portal and then disappearing into the dark. Okay. Now, suddenly it hit me like, damn, like somebody whacked me in the face with a big mackerel. Holy shit, this could be real. Well, what would that mean? Now, you're familiar, I'm sure, with Jack Parsons, L. Ron Hubbard, and I'm trying to think of the other guy's name, the big kahuna into magic, M-A-J-I-K. Okay, magic. Can you think
Anton LaVey?
No, no. He was a poser. No. Oh hell. Well, at any rate, it'll either come to me or it won't. Fuck it. But anyway, these guys were dealing with some very strange stuff. And this magician apparently manifested a being that they named Lamb. This is back in the late 40s, the early 50s. Okay. A few years later, Jack Parsons would be killed in a home explosion. L. Ron Hubbard did the Scientology thing. And this guy kind of disappeared for a while. Well, and then you see, this is one of the problems with this topic. It's so intermixed. It's such a goddamn bowl of spaghetti. But if in fact they were able to open a portal where these creatures could enter our reality, and hey, I realize this sounds like bullshit, but there's something to it. It has continued on. It continued on at Skinwalker Ranch. It continued on with this three-toed variety of creature. And even the UFO phenomenon itself may not all be from off-world. It may be from another universe, interdimensionally entering our space. Now, even the Pentagon, there are people in the Pentagon who have gone by the collective name, the Collins Elite, that are convinced that this basically phenomena, UFOs, are demonic. Now, whether it's really something from the bowels of hell, as we think of it, the Christian mythology, or whether it's something else, it would appear that they are here.
Yeah, and we have no control over it. I mean, that's pretty much what the Navy is, and everybody that's opened up about it from the government, that they're here and we have no control over it.
We might as well be monkeys to them.
We're like an ant farm.
Well, either that or look, Gerry, are you familiar with the 3 years of research I did on human mutilations?
Yeah, you had talked about this previously, yes.
Yes.
I don't mind if you do it again.
No, share it with the audience because, you were talking, you went beyond the cattle mutilations and went into the human mutilations.
Right.
And what you attribute it, well, you say, I'm not going to foreshadow. You just go into it.
You see, but all of this can be connected. Yeah, I I originally, as a cop, as a detective, I was called upon to investigate what turned out to be 2 cattle mutilations. And at the time, I had no knowledge what the hell this was. At first, it seemed to be an agricultural crime. Okay, some scumbags out there messing around with somebody's cattle. But when I was up to my elbows in this dead heifer, there was something strange there. And actually, in a way, that kind of figured into when I ended up writing my novel, because these animals were totally exsanguinated. Okay, they were totally drained of blood. No blood around the carcass. The sexual organs had been removed. An eyeball had been removed. A section of hide had been removed from the animal's head. Okay. The teats had been totally removed. That just doesn't happen. Okay. And all the things that if it were strictly for a meat kill, killing an animal to steal meat from it, no,
right,
no, none was missing. And predation would not happen around that. Coyotes or birds or anything else that would normally feed on a carcass totally avoided it. Now that in itself is strange. Now, I really got involved then in researching the whole mutilation mystery. I knew Linda Moulton Howe, who was one of the first researchers that went public on this. I knew a number of other researchers. This is later on. This is after I was no longer a police officer. But that was what I really originally pulled me into this field, was that case. Well, I was talking to John Keel, okay, author, researcher, 14. Keel and I became friends. Keel was the guy that wrote the Mothman prophecies.
Yeah,
and one of my closest, dearest friends, Richard Saraday, out here. Okay, this is back in the early 90s. Richard had been an international television star and actor. He had starred for 4 years in General Hospital. His acting was kind of going kind of cold at the time. The last show he had been on had been Simon and Simon. Hey, Keith, how's it going, buddy?
Good morning, everyone.
And Richard got in touch with me at the magazine and had been reading UFO magazine, was very much taken with it. He wanted to meet for coffee. We did. And he and I just clicked. Okay, we just clicked.
It's hard not to click with you, dude.
well, Rich wanted to get into producing. So we started working on some ideas. Back in those days, you may recall, there was a strip television show on the networks called Spy Magazine. Do you remember that TV series?
Yes, I do.
And he said, you know, Don, he said, we could do that with you and Vicky and UFO Magazine. That would make a perfect weekly TV show where you could, we could do cases on, what you guys were reporting on in the magazine. So we started working on that. And let me give you a little aside. We took a meeting, Richard and I, at the Morris Agency. No, I'm sorry, CAA. We took a meeting at CAA. And we got in there, and we were pitching them on this idea for UFO Magazine. Now, this is CAA, right? Big fucking outfit. And so we were telling them what our concept was. It would be an hour show. We would have it broken up in various segments. One segment would be the weird segment. One segment would be this. Another segment would be our science segment. Now, the two guys that were in there listening to us were brothers. Daddy had been a wheel at Disney and got them this job. They looked like they were about 12 goddamn years old. Okay? So we're breaking this down. We had taken in charts, and I said words to the effect of, just imagine our galaxy, 100,000 light years across, maybe 8,000 light years in depth. And if somebody had the technology to go at the speed of light, it would take them 100,000 years to cross the galaxy. I shit you not. One of those kids, and they were, raised his goddamn hand like he was in school. And I looked at him and I said, yeah. He said, Don, I got a question. Okay. Don, what's a galaxy? I knew right there. We were fucked. Okay. Right there.
Oh my God.
CAA.
Oh my God, that is so fucking funny. Hey, I want to stop for just a second because we have some people that have jumped in that I have not said good morning to yet. And that is Alatar, our good buddy in Springfield, Scott Lewis. Keith and I know him personally, very good friend. Wajid Liki Asharafi Rizvi is here. I hope you're having a good morning. Let's see. Mexican Arm, of course. Pat S, of course. Bill Barkley, Hex Allen Comics. And, of course, the lovely Anima Confusa. Dragon Ruse. And, how do I pronounce that one? La
Adelita.
Adelita. Okay, thank you. Good morning, everybody. All right, stop it, Martin. We love you, but not that much.
That's what I do it.
Hey, I want you to know, you see this hat, my hat?
Yeah.
Mark bought that. Mark Center, my buddy, bought that for me, sent it to me. It's Stand Behind the Blue Line. Okay. Yep. That's what it is. And that's where I put my military crap on it. And I don't know if I ever really acknowledged that before, but Mark, if you're still tuned in, my friend, thanks. My favorite freaking hat.
The three of us, all three of us have our American flags. I've got the subdued military. Keith's got the Air Force hat with civilian flag on it because the Air Force is civilians in uniform. And of course, you, Don, have the Behind the Blue Line, supporting our law enforcement brothers and sisters. And of course, we big supporters of law enforcement in this country.
And I'm the odd man out.
Well, and
you un-American heathen piece of shit, motherfucker.
You cannot see me, but
or as we know you as
Gus
Wolfen. But that is crazy. So he didn't even fucking know what a galaxy is.
No.
That just blows my mind. Yeah, it's like every once in a while you run into something like that where
these were the people that could have greenlit a fucking television show on the major networks. Okay. I've never forgotten that. I guess I never will, but I could not. When I came home and told Vicky that, I thought she was gonna lose it. I thought she was gonna lose it. Hey, did you ever hear of Star Trek? You know what Star Trek is? Jesus Christ.
Well, but that's part of the reason why we've wound up where we've wound up. It isn't just the fact that you had an entire generation of kids raised to think that you're supposed to get a reward or trophies for everything. It's the fact that we've gotten to the point where they don't have to think, even with the entertainment that they have. Star Trek was one of those shows that you couldn't just turn off your brain and watch it. You actually had to leave your brain running. You had to know something to really dig into the stories. And we don't require people to do that very much with their pop culture entertainment nowadays. You know, it really does depend on who's making it. You know, The Expanse, you had to think a little bit with The Expanse. Current Star Trek, you don't have to think at all. It's about emotion.
Better if you don't.
It's really about emotion more so than even science. The science doesn't mean anything with modern Star Trek. And,
their science is so bad. I mean, remember those calls they got from all those different fucking galaxies?
Yeah.
And they got them all at the same time. I'm like, do you not understand how signals travel through space and at what speed?
You know,
Light?
when I first got into Star Trek, I probably had a better grasp of science than the current writers of Star Trek.
Physics, man. It's like so heavy, man.
And I don't mean to really, start harping on those guys, but they make it too easy.
A typical fifth grader has a better grasp of science than those guys do.
Well, we
maybe,
learned that on
maybe from 30 years ago.
Yeah,
Not
30
today.
years ago. No.
Don't be so harsh. Discovery told me that if I put some asphalt in my car's tank, I could teleport to every street in the world.
I'm sorry, I didn't really.
Gary,
I shouldn't
look
go so
what
hard
my
on them.
wife brought me.
Oh, she brought you another pot. Look at that. How's she feeling? She was pretty sick this morning.
She's been taking some cold medication. Yeah, she came out yesterday morning, and I'm always up early. Okay, I get up real freaking early, like maybe 5:30. And when she wandered out about 7, she said, I think I'm coming down with something. I said, well, baby, take zinc and vitamin C. Double up on it. And she did, but this morning it really set down on her. So after she gets up and moves around a little bit, she's doing a little better, but I got to take care of my baby.
Yeah, man. So let's travel back, because in California, I know up in Northern California is Bigfoot territory, but how far south have you heard reports of Bigfoot in Cali?
Probably the closest, and this is just off the top of my head, that anybody has reported anything, maybe around Sacramento.
Yeah, which is where I lived. Yeah, because it's just, because just north of there is when it starts getting into the timberlands and all that shit, and the redwoods and all of that. And basically, we were hearing things, but we never saw it, because I lived in Sacatomato, as we called it. Yeah, that's what everybody called it, Sacatomato. I've never had a UFO experience. I've never had a Bigfoot experience. And it's like, I always feel like I was left out of the joke, and it pissed me off.
Well, let me tell you, I had this is when we bought our house in 94. We bought our house. It had been built in 92. Now we live in a rural area. And I said it again, Gary. You were commenting the other day.
I know the way you said it. I've never heard it said that way. It's like rural. See, I grew up saying rural, which sounds like you don't know how to talk. I'm from rural.
Well, right across from us is a small house. It's more like a little country cabin, but it's a nice little house. Now it is. But when we first moved here, a biker and his mama lived across from us. Okay. And one day we're outside. I was trimming bushes or something, and Vicky came out, and the biker mama came over and they were talking, okay, and she said, well, what is it you and your husband do? Oh, well, we publish UFO magazine. Oh, you do? Yeah. Well, I didn't know if I was going to mention this, but I'm going to tell you. When they were building the house in 92, one morning I was at the kitchen window washing dishes, and coming up the canyon, I saw this round disc flying up the canyon. And it stopped where they were digging, for the foundation for the house, and it hovered above where your house is now, and then flew off. Oh, okay. So Vicky told me that. And I said, was she smoking any weed? Because I said, no, that's too weird. I don't know if I'm going to tell anybody that, but I'm telling you. So did that happen? Well, maybe. There's no way of knowing.
Wow. Hey, by the way, one of our friends here just brought up something. Hex Allen Comics brought up $6 Million Man. And that was a huge thing for us kids in the 70s. And there were two different actors that played Bigfoot.
Yeah, I remember that.
This is Richard Kiel in the makeup. And that's with Lindsay Wagner and with Lee Majors.
Lee Majors had a wristwatch or something that could slow down time, right? In one of those episodes.
Was that what it was? I got to go back and watch it. I've only gone back and rewatched season 1, and because it was such a good spy show.
Do you see the crap I have stored in my head?
You're not the only one. That's why you're here.
But there's the other actor, because that is not Richard Kiel. That's the other actor that played him.
Actor.
But Richard Kiel did come back and voice this guy's sounds. The creature sounds was Richard Kiel. Kiel, of course, best known for playing. God, I just forgot the character's name. Oh well, Lord, thank you.
Well, you remember, we have a super chat from Darius Munchausen.
Darius Munchausen sent us a super sticker, which I can't see. StreamYard doesn't let us see it, so I don't know what it is, Darius.
That's $4. Bird with a giant coffee mug.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for your support. And for you, instead of a video, I'm going to put a meme I made. Part 1 of that meme goes like this. What kind of clown do you take me for? The dead kind. I love that meme. It just tickled me when I made it. I was like, that fucker made me laugh. I've read Bigfoot sightings as far as south as mountains. And I saw somebody said they don't believe in Bigfoot, which, you don't have to believe in anything. It doesn't mean it's not there. The fact is, a lot of people, like I said, I brought it up at the beginning of the show, all the way up into the 40s, man. They didn't believe fucking pandas existed.
Okay.
They just thought it was folklore, legend, paintings.
Or the original mountain gorilla.
Yeah, they just didn't know what. Then they found one. And then all of a sudden, oh, this thing really did exist. Absolute scientific deniers. That's a fake thing. It doesn't exist. Then it does. And then the silly question, which of course Pat has asked, and I think he was being silly on purpose. Where are the bones? Which is, because of the fact that this is likely an evolutionary divergence, and it shows intelligence, they likely bury their dead, like the Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon did. And I don't know if we're related to this thing distantly or not. And I don't know about that bear evolutionary thing, but shit, man, anything's fucking possible.
Yeah.
But my feeling is it's just one of the primates that evolved in a different way than humans. They kind of touched on that with the X-Files. What, Don?
That guy that I put you in touch with?
Yes, and he's going to hopefully be on in a month to 2 months.
Right. That will be a very interesting interview.
Well, first of all, he's
able
a
to
natural
clone.
anthropologist. He's a scientist working for a university, so that he's lending credence to the existence of this thing, and from the scientific community that this is possibly something that exists. And a lot of people think, oh, scientific community says no, it doesn't exist. No, there are people in the science community that say, yeah, there's really a good likelihood, and the reason you're not finding bones is they probably bury their dead. Well, we found deer bones in the woods. Well, they don't fucking bury their dead.
It's like the UFO phenomenon. Well, if that was real, scientists would know about that. They'd be studying it. No,
they did.
They don't. Do you know why? It was a career killer. Okay, if you showed interest in these quote unquote paranormal subjects, your academic career was over. They would use fascism, academic, kind of like the cancel culture today.
Yeah. It is cancel culture. It is. Absolutely.
But now it has changed a little bit, especially since Harry Reid. And I got to tell you, I was not a fan of Harry Reid.
Me neither.
But Harry Reid came out in 2017 in December and basically admitted that he garnered over $20 million. Right. And he saw some of the DOD evidence that you and I are not allowed to see. He saw some of that. He knew there is something there. And now you can at least talk about it without being laughed at in most quarters, Gerry.
Right. And since the Navy and with permission from the DOD released that information with the Tic Tacs, we now know that and what they refer to it now as UAPs, which is unidentified aerial phenomena. It's not considered an object until it has definition, which is what they're finding on Skinwalker Ranch is both. They have seen things that have shape, and they've got these things that are amorphous that just they come in and out. It's really fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy what we're seeing.
Now, what does that scream to you?
Well, probes is what that's
interdimensional.
Interdimensional, yeah.
Now, I think I mentioned this before. I didn't really go into it, but there is one other possibility what some of this phenomena could point to, and that is the remnants of an ancient human civilization that was very, very advanced, that basically disappeared at the cessation of our last ice age over 12,000 years ago. Now, most people do not even give a thought to that event. It was a earth-changing event. The entire planet was affected. Okay, a giant flood happened, which probably washed away millions and millions of human beings, not to mention the giant fauna that was around then. Things like saber-toothed cats, woolly mammoths, Columbian mammoths, giant diurnal wolves, giant bison. I mean, there were whole species that disappeared in the blink of an eye. How did that happen? What the hell caused that?
Well, you remember also in the Bible, it even says it there. It says, in the days of Noah, giants roamed the earth.
Yeah, and where did that come from? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Sumeria.
That's right.
Sumerian the first recorded civilization that we are aware of. Sumeria was at least 5,000 or 6,000 years later than Göbekli Tepe, okay, which had a big-ass civilization there that were probably survivors, refugees from the planetary-wide catastrophic event that happened. And what caused that event? Probably an asteroid or comet that hit the planet that caused the ice caps to melt the oceans to raise, okay, nuclear winter without the nuclear bomb, and civilization was reset to zero. Now think about that. That's a scary damn thing, and it could conceivably happen again.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, there's evidence that it has happened numerous times in our past, Gerry. Numerous times.
Well, there's always been the question of how advanced we were because of the fire at the library at Alexandria.
Yes.
You know, that there is a belief these are educated people that have even like said this out loud, and they've been scoffed for it, that technology could be far more advanced than we realized, but we lost that because of that fire and the destruction of so much information. Because we found mechanical wheels that come from a time period when there was not supposed to be anything mechanical. We've discovered that.
The Ankathera computer.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That's exactly what I'm referring to.
I was going to mention that. Yeah.
That is exactly what I'm referring to. And it's just, you look at this and you're like, how did they have wheels, working wheels at this time, at the age they're saying this thing is? It fucking blew my mind. I got to tell you, if you're not watching Ancient Aliens, as funny as some of it gets, and I love them, there's a lot of fucking shit in there that will knock your socks off. That's been backed up by science,
and there's a lot of bullshit too. So
yeah,
let's be real on the money here.
Well, it's like I've always been 50-50 with Eric von Donigan. I've been like 50%, yeah, and then 50% like, come on, man.
Well,
come on.
One instance of those command moment is what Berkeley says of the little delta wing plane made of metal that everybody has seen the
gold. It made of gold.
But we all seen the plane. But von Daniken states that if you throw it like a paper plane, that shit glides. I don't know about that.
Not made of gold.
Yeah, not made of gold. But the reason it was made of gold is because that has some sort of connection to them, because that's one of the theories is they were here for gold.
Yeah.
Now,
and that humans were created to mine gold.
Here's a mind blower. 300,000 plus years ago, somebody was in South Africa mining gold. Okay. Now, you talk to, depending upon which academic you talk to, human beings, Homo sapiens sapiens, are about 200,000 years old. Bullshit. They go back a hell of a lot further than that. Zecharia Sitchin, in his monumental series of books called the Earth Chronicles series, talks about these visitors, the Anunnaki, which basically means those who from heaven to earth came, the Anunnaki, came here specifically to mine for gold. And the labor was so hard that they decided to create the atom, the primitive worker. Okay? Human beings like we are today, but they were a slave labor race. Now, I don't know if you believe in that, if you don't, whatever, but the fact of the matter is there is some real evidence that points that way. Now, 300,000 years ago, if they were human beings mining for gold, number one, why? They can't use it for a weapon. The metal is too soft. Okay. They had no monetary economy. What the hell would you do with gold? Nothing. But looking at it from our technological standpoint, what can you do with gold? Makes a massively desirable connector for electronics. Gold is utilized in electronics. It's a conductor, okay? And that might have been part of what they were doing. But that's just me speculating.
Yeah, but we are even us are switching from electrical signal to optical signals. We are ditching gold for fiber optics. And quantum computers cannot use gold. So I don't think gold is really valuable to an interplanetary civilization.
Well, it depends on how interplanetary and advanced they were.
We are not interplanetary, and we are ditching gold.
Well, that's us.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. And besides the conductivity,
Who would have Martin? Who would have ever considered 50 years ago, 60 years ago, which, if you get right down to it, it's not that long ago, that we would be using a laser for communication?
And
Laser
gold is also used in a lot of high-tech cables because it is a very good conductor for sending information.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Other thing is gold does not degrade like other metals and tends to remain pure. That's why we decided to use giving it a monetary value.
And it's rare.
Yep.
Streamed.
Let's see. Do we have anybody else new? Or I want to make sure.
No.
Of course, Darius is here. Mark Center, I haven't said hello to. Good morning, Mark. Glad you guys have joined. And I'm going to tell you right now, Kingsport Cal, don't worry.
That's my buddy.
If you don't believe this shit, it's all right, man. You can still enjoy the chat. We love having you on here, man. You're a valuable part of our chat. We love having you on here and adding your opinion. And look, if you see people wanting to challenge you, they're just asking you, man, actually read some of this stuff. And it's what's changed my life is getting in there and reading some of the research done on this. And what shocks me today is how close-minded a lot of the Egyptologists are in Egypt. And I don't know why they're so close-minded about the research going on inside the pyramids, because it's already been proven these aren't tombs. They're not tombs. There's nobody fucking buried there.
Well, it's that main Egyptologist guy who holds Egyptology like his own fiefdom.
No, he really does. He does. And I know who you're talking about.
Zawe Hawass.
Yeah, that's him.
I was going to avoid saying his name, but God damn it, there we go. No, it's I like him, because he's fascinating to listen to, but he's very close-minded. It is this or it's nothing. That's the way he is. He won't listen to anything that says, look, man, we've got salt water in the fucking in these tunnels that don't make any sense. They're not big enough for anything. Mm-hmm. And clearly, salt water was there, and they believe that the pyramids were batteries. And we know batteries existed because it's in the hieroglyphs. Batteries.
We found examples of them, the Baghdad battery.
Yeah, the Baghdad battery. It's absolutely fact. It's not, that's you miss. No, it is a battery. They're showing the function of the battery, how it worked, using saline and I forget what else is in there.
The copper
tubes, saline, and what was it they were using? Was it the salt water? What was the alkaline?
Might have been lemon juice.
Lemon juice. That was it. Lemon juice. And they fucking were making batteries. This is before Christ, Well, I'm telling you, it's crazy. And the more you open yourself up to this information, I don't know how to call it. When I first read Eric von Doniget, I was a kid, and I didn't understand it. And then when I hit my teens and read it again, it had a completely different impact on me, a much more significant impact. And then I understood why my dad was reading this shit. And my dad, even though devout Catholic Christian, absolutely believed in intelligent design, that there's a misunderstanding of what we are and how we were created. Because every religion was in a race to create the creation story. You know that, Don. All those creation stories were going around. I mean, how many versions of the Noah story do we have? I mean, the first one, of course, was Sumerian.
Yep.
And it was the story of, I just forgot his name.
Unpronounceable.
Hey,
yeah.
Gerry,
What?
speaking of Von Daniken and the creation story, did you ever saw the comic book that he made? It's more like a graphic novels. I always forget its name. That was the first thing I read from Von Daniken when I was a kid.
Yeah, the first thing I read was Chariot, and I loved it when William Shatner narrated. They finally turned it into a film, Chariots of the Gods. And that was, I mean, my induction into this shit was young. I mean, damn. How old were you when you first started getting interested in this, Don?
12.
Mine was 9, and I was.
But of course, I saw The Thing and This Island Earth and a few others before. Them. Do you remember them?
Them, yes.
Arness?
The giant ants. I'm going to ask you a question with The Thing. Dad saw that in the theater when it got released. He saw it opening weekend. And he said that he still doesn't know to this day what made him jump. Was it him suddenly being in that doorway when they opened that door and he's just there? Or if it was all the women that screamed at once at that. He's like, but he leapt and threw his popcorn. when that door opened and there's The Thing, just, it's like the biggest jump scare of that fucking movie was when they didn't expect him in that doorway and they open that door and he's right there. Absolutely one of my favorite films of all time. The Thing from Another World. It is the first UFO movie about aliens. Because this is after all that shit, as I recall, with DC, right? Or was this just that? It was 1950-51. Was 51. That when? It was 51. When were the UFOs over DC?
52.
Okay, so this was basically what was brought about because of Roswell. Roswell and Kenneth Arnold's report in June of seeing those objects.
And Donald Kehoe. Okay.
Yeah, everybody forgets him, and I always forget him too.
He was a fascinating man.
Because he was before Arnold, right?
Yeah, I've been to his home. Donald Kehoe was an Annapolis graduate. Okay, I think it was 21 or 22. Entered, instead of the Navy, the Marine Corps, became an aviator, was the squadron leader that led the first Marine squadron to Guam. Okay, now we're talking about back in the 20s, 30s, was in an air crash, crashed an airplane. He ended up medically retiring. When the Second World War began, he went back into the Marine Corps, was a staff officer. Okay, he had been an aviation writer. And it was after the war. Now, of course, you got to know a little something about the history. In 44, 45, American and Allied pilots were reporting on Foo Fighters, over Europe and over the Pacific. That's something that often gets overlooked. They were seeing them fighting the Japanese when we were still fighting the Japanese. At the end of the war, another thing happened that for a while galvanized the public. It was being reported on. The ghost rocket phenomenon over Europe. Do you recall that?
I don't remember that at all. What is that?
Well, at first, they thought it might have been the Soviet Union testing recovered German V2 technology. But that was not it.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi, Anima.
Hurry, Pogiri.
What?
Pogiri.
Oh, he wants you to do this.
No, why would I? He's behaving so far.
I'm always behaving. I always behave, just not always well.
Sure.
No, go ahead, Don. Where we're going with the Rockets. Yeah, there we go. Oh.
I'm gonna poke Martine.
So anyway, then 47 happened, and that's when it really lit. Now, Kehoe had been following all this because that's what I wanted to point out. Now, the first director of the brand new Central Intelligence Agency was a guy by the name of Admiral Roscoe Hillenkotter. Hillenkotter and Kehoe had been classmates at Annapolis. So Kehoe knew all these guys, all right, all of them. And all these pilot reports were now coming in from military pilots, Army Air Force, because the U.S. Air Force had not yet begun, although it was going to happen soon at that point. Navy pilots, Marine pilots, they were witnessing these things. So Kehoe was getting all these reports. He ended up writing a big article on the quote-unquote saucers for a very popular men's magazine then, True magazine, okay? And he ended up turning that article into his first book, which was a paperback. I still have a copy of it here somewhere. It's falling apart now. But Kehoe was considered to be the guy that had his finger on the pulse. Now, in the 50s, he became the head of NICAP, the National Investigative Committee on Aerial Phenomena. Some of the first board members of NICAP included Roscoe Hillenkotter, who was the first director of CIA, and a bunch of other people. So those guys knew that whatever this was, it was a real phenomenon. Now, the working hypothesis then was it's interplanetary, okay, that these were extraterrestrials coming here for some reason. The dirty little secret, as far as I'm concerned, was that they've always been here. They've always been here. Who knows when they first got here, but there was a hell of a lot of evidence that they had bases on the moon, that they had bases on Mars, and they had bases under the oceans.
Yeah.
Now, E.T., maybe. E.T. or, another
Always
marketing.
Is it Mark? Oh, I thought it might be Mark.
No. So the dirty little secret was they've always been here. Maybe some of them, in fact, might be from an ancient, advanced human civilization. But the bottom line is it wasn't new. If you read the Bible, for Christ's sakes, you'll know that because there are many references to quote-unquote angels coming down from the sky, that type of thing. Ezekiel's wheel, for God's sake, is one of them. So Kehoe became the real thorn and the burr under the saddle of the United States Air Force because they were then going to extraordinary lengths to get rid of this thing. And the fact of the matter was they couldn't. Back in the early 50s, they were saucers. Then the Air Force came out with a new acronym, UFOs. And you've seen what recently has happened. It went from UFOs to UAPs. It's a word game. What the hell? It's all the same thing, same phenomenon.
What does UAP stand for?
I'm sorry?
What does it stand
Unidentified
for?
aerial phenomena.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Not a native speaker. in German, it's UFO all the way. So they never changed. as far as I know.
Actually, when I was a kid, a lot of people pronounce it even here in the United States as UFOs.
Really? They do?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if that was from the
I don't
Germans,
even know
but
what
they
they
did.
say. Marshall. How did they say in Croatian? I don't even know.
Marshall says Russians.
Well, you know, that's the other thing. Back in those days, Stalin was still alive in 52, 53, right before he died. And the Russians were also experiencing this, but they publicly blamed the West for it, the United States. And they knew damn well it wasn't us. We didn't have anything. You know, one case that Kehoe broke happened over the Gulf of Mexico. Back in those days, we still had operational B-29s, okay? And they turned, it was an experimental thing. They turned a B-29 into an early version of AWACS. And the case that, they put radar, all kinds of stuff on that. Kehoe uncovered a case where a B-29 was suddenly being swamped by a flurry of small saucers, okay? And they started shooting straight up into the atmosphere. The B-29 pointed its radar up. They detected a cylindrical shaped object climbing at over 1,500, almost 2,000 miles an hour, while these tiny saucers were being retrieved as this thing was climbing towards space. Now, think about that. Back in 52, 53, we had nothing that could even begin to be considered a part of that. And they were here, they were using it, and what the hell they were doing is anybody's idea. Do you know about the 2 satellites that were detected by the Pentagon in 54?
No.
In 1957, the Soviet Union launched the first Earth satellite into orbit, Sputnik 1. But in 54, this broke in national newspapers all across the United States. The Pentagon had detected 2 objects in orbit around Earth, one at 400 miles out, one at 600 miles out, and they tried to explain that as a couple of asteroids that were temporarily captured in the Earth's gravitational pull. Pure bullshit. But they were there, and then they left. So, what's that tell you? Somebody was out there, pal. Somebody was out there.
Crazy shit, dude. Hey, a half hour ago, I meant to do this and I forgot. I got so captivated by what we were talking about that I wanted to wish happy birthday wishes to 2 of my friends. One of them is Jim Woodward's brother, Bill. Bill is, he was always like my little brother. Because he was Jim's little brother, and there he is with his little. It looks just like Jim now. They got the same squinty eyes. And then, of course, another one is my old friend Charlie Desalarica, who is Ridley Scott's producer of all of his special features and DVDs and all that good stuff. So let me find that picture. Where is that picture? There it is. There's Charlie. Been friends with him for about 30 years.
Holy shit, I do want one of those.
He has a lot of cool shit, dude. And I got to tell you, he's a hell of a director. He's the one who made the documentaries on the final cut of Blade Runner. All those special edition documentaries were all directed by this gentleman. And he is the one who oversaw the effects he fixed everything that was visually wrong with Blade Runner. He personally did. That's the guy. That's really? Charlie Desalarica. Yes.
Wow.
He was the one who oversaw the lip flap scene with Harrison Ford's son to come in and fix the the scene with the Egyptian snake seller. You know, so it's Charlie's an old friend of mine, really good guy. Can't get him on the show. He's too fucking busy. He's too busy in Hollywood doing shit. So good on him.
Nowadays.
Happy birthday, Charlie. Happy birthday, Bill Woodward. Love you guys. And I promised I would do it at the top of the hour, but now it's at the bottom of the hour, and I did it. Imagine that, me being full of shit. What are the odds?
Hey, Gary, you know,
man.
Scientists say that dark matter is what actually is the glue that holds the universe together. You were aware of it, yes?
Yes.
No shit.
No shit, coffee.
I agree. At least it's what holds me together.
Yes, I got to tell you, man. I've always been like an Earl Grey dinker since the 80s. And when Star Trek Next Generation came out, I'm like, see, I'm not the only one. Earl Grey hot. You know, fucking Earl Grey was the shit. No sugar, I just drink it straight. But
you're supposed to drink it with milk, right? And
I didn't. I drank mine. You can, but I never did. I got introduced to coffee when I was up at Fort Lewis. And all of a sudden, like Starbucks was a thing up there. This is before it spread around the country. I'm like, it was at every fucking street corner in Seattle. And I started getting these like double cafe lattes with mocha. And I'm
That's
like, I'm bouncing off the fucking roof of my ambulance.
Gary, that's not coffee. That's a fucking dessert.
Oh, it's yeah. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And
I
then
worked at Starbucks, I know.
And then I was reintroduced to an Irish coffee, not the shit you get in the US, the real thing, which is black coffee with a shot of whiskey in it.
Mm-hmm. That's the real
And
stuff.
it's either Jameson's or Bushmills. And I prefer Bushmills black. It's a single barrel. It's fucking amazing. And I just like coffee is the shit for me now. I love it.
Drink enough of it and will be.
Yeah, buddy. But I think this has been a great show, Don. Thanks, man. You've like thrown so much knowledge around today. I think even Kingsport Cal goes, all right, I'm going to read about this shit now. Thanks, fuckers.
Oh, for sure you will.
But I want to thank the chat. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the show up here. UFO Wednesday is actually the day I look forward to every fucking week. It's my favorite day, especially if I get Dawn on. Because I know that I don't have to carry the show. Dawn will fucking talk and I can shut the fuck up.
Yeah, can we
and
please
every
have it
single
every
one of
Wednesday?
you that make fun of that, fuck you in the chat. I saw your fucking comments. Gary's not talking. No shit. Sometimes I listen, fuckers.
I want Dawn Wednesday every week.
I would like that as a regular thing myself. And in fact, I was going to say your friend, is it Martin or Mark?
Mark.
Invite him on the show, dude. Come on with you or from his house. Just jump on. Does he have any experience and knowledge in this stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, then definitely get him on, man.
But I'll tell you where he really shines. Mark was one of the leading investigators on the alien autopsy back in the 90s. The stuff that he investigated on that will blow your mind. But the other area that Mark really shines in is pop culture, his movie knowledge. And every time I've seen you guys, like Keith and you,
Keith just
John
love
and
that.
You know, some of the other folks, I thought to myself, God damn, Mark ought to be here.
Oh, wait, is that Mark? Is that the Mark?
Mark Center, yeah.
Yeah, right there. He just commented, who?
Oh yeah. Mark is.
Come on, Mark. You can even come on with Keith and I when we're just talking movie stuff, man. Be glad to have you. If you're a friend of Don's, you're a friend of mine. But I would definitely like to get him on and talk UFO stuff. And I will say this about the alien autopsy. I was pissed that those young guys made that fake movie. Because as much as attention as they think they brought it, they also made it look like a fucking joke. and we know that something happened, and they shouldn't be doing shit like that. It discredits people.
Thank you, Don, for shutting Gerry up.
Oh yeah, fuck you, Gap After Dark. I liked you better when you were Gap Stargate.
That's no easy feat, my man. No easy feat.
Come on, Gerry, it's nice for you to
like
listen,
Keith,
not talk.
Keith and Don are guys that I will shut the fuck up and listen to because they both will throw down some knowledge. And I like the only thing I like more than doing this show is learning.
Hashtag Keith is always right.
No, hashtag blame Keith. Fucking learn your hashtags.
No, I told Keith the other day that, and I was dead serious. I said, man, I've been listening to you talk about some of that inside baseball shit with Hollywood, and holy shit, it blew me away. It really did.
You're
hey,
way too kind.
It's Monkey Jeebus. How you doing, buddy? Hey. Well, we're going to wrap up this show and do our after show. Anybody that are members in the please message me on Twitter. I'll send you an invite. You can join us. This is for members or part of the team to sit back and kind of shoot the shit with Don here, and of course Monkey Jeebus is a member as well as a good friend of this channel. And well, some of you, I question your friendship. I really do. But I love you guys.
Hey, by the way, Gerry, just so you know, I'm doing this show again in my pajamas.
That's the way to do it. I need to start doing that. I don't need to get dressed. Fuck it. But that's it. My coffee is empty. The show is over. I want to thank everybody for showing up today. I'm going to go through the list real quick because I love doing it this way, Martin. I really do. This works perfectly for me. D. Bud Martin, Aaron Ratliff, Doss Wolfen, who is on the show, Gap After Dark, you son of a bitch. Thanks for being here, buddy. Marshall, always good to hear from you. And we are going to have a history talk one night. And of course, Monkey Jeebus, who is here in the show with us right now. Alatar, Scott Lewis. Scott Lewis is the voice of VisionCon, man. A good friend of Keith's and mine. Wajid Liki Asharafi Rizvi. Thanks for being here, man. Mexican Iron Man. Muchas gracias, mi amigo. Pat S. Fuck you, dude. That's what I think about your bones question. Fuck you. Love you, buddy. Bill Barkley, you're always awesome. Hex Allen Comics, great questions. Actually, all you guys have great questions, but Hex Allen, you really do shine with some of your questions. I starred them just so I can refer back to them after the show. Anima Confusa, who is, of course, she's okay. I like her. She's all right.
Yeah, Gerry, I really like doing your show, Gerry.
Dragon Ruse, Lo Adalita, or La Adalita, Mark Center, thanks for showing up, man. Right. Darius Munchausen, who is absolutely my favorite. Munchausen. Nobody likes Munchausen by proxy. Let's see who else. Glenn Fleming, thanks for showing up, man. Sorry it was at the last minute, buddy. The show's ending right when you fucking show up. But thank you everybody for being here. It's just, I do this show because of you guys. If you guys didn't show up, I would just be sitting here just staring, probably reading a comic book or a new news magazine. God only knows what. But you keep it going. So thanks for being here. Thanks for being here, Dawn. And thanks for everybody on the panel for showing up. And Keith, as always, you're my partner in crime. I'm a terrible criminal on my own, but with Keith, man, we can pull off any heist. With that, fuck off. Have a good day today. Get out of here.